How many of you have used this report before? Okay, yes, this report is really, really.
This is absolutely the spot I'll take my district to that's having a monitoring visit, to be able to show the monitors that they know where their kids are going.
Yes, absolutely.
The ones we just talked about.
And I will strongly recommend you to, when you go to talk to your district partners, to show them this site, because it's a publicly available. I mean, all of our data, the reports that we're showing you are publicly available, and they are welcome to drill down, play with the data, do whatever you want, save it, sort it, please. We would like for you to do that. Take our data, please. So this is the inner workings behind that dashboard. This is where that data comes from. Save the persistence. That persistence data is relatively unique to that dashboard. We don't really have a report available to show you that separately. Okay.
What about the National Student Clearinghouse?
Sure. So the National Student Clearinghouse, I'm sure is everyone aware of that organization? They collect data from high schools and from higher ed as well. The higher ed folks participate largely because National Student Clearinghouse offers that degree verify, which is really nice because you can go into any institution, look up a student, and find out when they graduated from that institution. And that is populated by National Student Clearinghouse data. On the K-12 side, their membership model is per high school. So every high school pays a fee. A lot of times the district takes care of this. But the high schools or the districts can submit data directly to NSC, and NSC will almost immediately send back a file linking them to students in higher ed. Now, like us, we can only report the data that we have. The same is true with the National Student Clearinghouse. They have about a 93% coverage nationwide, but there are still some institutions that don't report to them. So you're going to get the best picture possible from the National Student Clearinghouse because you capture most of those out-of-state kids and most of those in-state kids, quite frankly. But all data have limitations. We often have people contact us and say, well, how do I get those out-of-state kids? And we do refer them to the National Student Clearinghouse. In fact, recently we had a call where someone said, I have to report to my board, we're a high-performing district, but your data doesn't show that. And I said, well, the best you can do then is use your National Student Clearinghouse files. And she said, I have those files, I can't make sense of them. Your districts and your high schools should be getting back with their student-level data files. They should be getting back also a file of graphs that present the data visually. So your districts and your high schools are not supposed to share those National Student Clearinghouse data with you, not the student level data, but they can send you those graphs. So ask them for them if they haven't shared them with you and you're interested in that information. Just ask them, can you send me your visual file or can you send me the graphics file? And when they say, what? Say, you should have gotten a file with a bunch of figures from National Student Clearinghouse, can you send me those? And they may not realize that because when you go into the National Student Clearinghouse interface, it's an FTP site, and the student level data file is separate from the graphics file, but it is there for them. So.
And I just want to add a couple things. One is that our data isn't going to match National Student Clearinghouse exactly, and because of our data collection certification process, we do have a lot of districts who will rely on the in-state enrollment, rely on this data that we have, and then they'll rely on National Student Clearinghouse to find out how many students go out of state. It's very expensive for a state to get clearinghouse data and complicated. We have at various points in time had some because of grants and other things. So I think the most recent we've had is 2010. There is some information, I believe, or it's going to be in the dashboard that will show, at least for that year, what percentage of students from the districts went out of state. We actually brought a prototype of, we called it a resume, but it was something similar to this. We had a focus group with some superintendent and trustees to sort of see what they were interested in. They reacted to the not found. Obviously, some students who are not found are students who did not go on to higher ed, but I think just having that general pool, was of concern because people do go in the military in various places. So at least we are, for those who don't get National Student Clearinghouse, we will have a percentage. It will be from a few years ago. Maybe in the future we'll be able to get that data statewide again, but we will be able to show for a certain snapshot in time here's the percentage of students from this ISD who went out of state in 2010, from the 2010 graduating. That can be helpful because obviously for places like in our area, Eanes ISD, that number is quite large. For other places, it might be 1 or 2%, and it does answer some questions even if you don't have the up to the minute data. It can give you a flavor for what you might expect.